You don't talk much. Some people hear this all the time, but what most people don't understand is it's not that they can't talk, it's that they don't talk in the wrong environment. There's a common belief that quiet people are always quiet, but psychology shows that this isn't true. Many people who seem silent in one place can be completely different somewhere else. They can be expressive, talkative, and even loud, just not with everyone. This is because communication is not just about personality, it's also about comfort, trust, and connection. One of the main reasons people don't talk much is the vibe of the environment. When something feels off, forced conversations, fake energy, or people trying too hard, they naturally pull back. They don't feel the need to match the room. They don't force themselves to fit in just to avoid being noticed. Instead, they stay quiet and observe, not because they're awkward, but because they're aware. Psychology explains this through something called social filtering. Some people automatically filter where they invest their words. They ask themselves, even unconsciously, is this worth my energy? Do I feel comfortable here? Are these people genuine? If the answer is no, they limit how much they say. But when they find the right people, everything changes. Around people they trust, they don't hold back as much. They joke, they share opinions, they speak freely without overthinking every word. This is why you'll often hear, you were so quiet before, but now you talk a lot. It's not inconsistency, it's context. Another important factor is psychological safety. People open up when they feel safe from judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. If someone feels like their words might be ignored, judged, or twisted, they would rather stay silent. Not because they're weak, but because they're protecting themselves. Past experiences also play a big role. Some people used to talk more, but over time they were interrupted, dismissed, or not taken seriously. So they learned to be more selective. They realized that not every space deserves their voice, and instead of forcing it, they adjust it. There's also a strong connection to energy awareness. People who don't talk much are often sensitive to how interactions affect them. They can quickly tell when a conversation is draining, negative, or pointless. So, instead of engaging just for the sake of it, they conserve their energy. They would rather stay quiet than feel exhausted after a conversation that meant nothing. Another reason is authenticity. They don't like pretending, they won't fake interest, they won't laugh just to be accepted, they won't act talkative if they don't feel comfortable. If the connection isn't real, their silence reflects that. Because of this, they're often misunderstood. People assume they're shy, they're not friendly, they think they're better than others, but in reality, it's not about ego or fear, it's about alignment. They engage where they feel connected and disengage where they don't. There's also the habit of observing before speaking. When they enter a new environment, they don't immediately jump into conversations. They watch first. They notice how people talk, how they treat others, and how they react. They're trying to understand the social dynamics before deciding how much of themselves to show. This makes them more intentional. They don't speak just to fill silence. They speak when they feel their words matter or when they feel comfortable enough to be themselves. Another truth is this: they don't feel the need to be liked by everyone. They're okay being misunderstood by some people if it means staying real. They would rather be fully themselves with a few people than adjust their personality to be accepted by many. But this also comes with a downside. Because they don't explain themselves often, people fill in the gaps with assumptions, and those assumptions are usually wrong. They get labeled without being understood, and instead of correcting everyone, they often just let it be. It's also important to understand that silence for them is not awkward, it's normal. They don't feel pressured to keep conversations going all the time. They're comfortable with pauses, they're comfortable with not speaking, because they don't measure connection by how much is said, but by how real it feels. And here's something most people don't notice. When quiet people do choose to speak, it usually means something. They've already thought about it. They've already decided it's worth saying. That's why their words often carry more weight. So, when someone says, you don't talk much, what they're really seeing is only one side of that person. They're seeing them in a space where they don't feel fully comfortable, connected, or understood. Because the truth is simple, they're not quiet everywhere. They're just quiet where they don't feel like being themselves. Some people don't talk much, not because they have nothing to say, but because they've learned that the wrong environment can silence even the most expressive person.